Hey there guys, it's Kim George here from YourChicGeek.com, and I want to welcome you to a new video. So before we get into this video, guys, I want to just say thank you so much for all the love and all of the comments and things on the last video. I honestly still am in kind of disbelief, or not disbelief, but just kind of shocked. Grateful, blessed, all of that things worked out the way that they did for Q4. Now I know that was Q4, and I know that things are probably going to go down a little bit, but it's just really has inspired me to work even harder at this business, and also, as I mentioned previously, to really expand with creating even more digital products and publishing them to other platforms to get to really diversify my income streams. But again, thank you all so much for the support. You guys can do it as well. And I believe in you. I know we can rock this out. So let's all rock this out together. And again, let's make 2023 the absolute best that we can make it. Okay. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about really briefly, I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, how I was able to earn over $7,800 from one coloring book. I went back and I looked at the royalties and I thought it was wrong. I'm like, is this right? Yeah, it was $7,800, and not even from one coloring book, but it was from a series of coloring books. But there was one book in particular in this series that really took off. I talked about it a little bit and touched on it briefly a little bit in my last video, but for this video, I'm actually going to be dedicating more information and talking about it and doing kind of a case study on what I think I did differently, or what I think caused the book's success. And hopefully you guys can walk away with something actionable that you can use and you can take to implement in your own KDP business. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so again, I mentioned on the last video, and here is a screenshot of those royalties. As you can see, this is from one author name right here. This is for last month. It says it's just 3 books selected. So yeah, I think it was about 3 that really did make up the bulk of sales. It's really insane. And it brought in over 7,800, and I still cannot believe that. So I just wanted to talk to you guys really quickly again to, just kind of state, or just kind of put out there what I think went right, I guess, if anything, or what I tried to do with this series of books. And give you guys some tips that you can use. Okay, so tip number one is don't be afraid to get into publishing more medium content books that are in competitive or a little bit of competitive niches. Now, to be honest with you guys, for this book, I basically just kind of thought of it. It was something that I wanted to publish on last year, but I never did get around to it. But I just went with it. And I did the research, of course. I looked at it and saw that, okay, it is something that people were interested in. And so I figured, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and give this a shot. You just never know what happens. I'm going to just try to put my own spin to it. I'm going to just try to make sure that I have a bang up cover, something that looks really good, make the interior nice, and just put it out there and just see what happens. And so I published the book, and it started making sales, but I just was figuring, okay, well, that's fine. It's making a few sales here and there, and that's just going to be it. But in December, it really took off. And I think I mentioned it took off to the point where it got down to like a 10 something in the BSR. It was like really crazy low. It was crazy. I was just like, I am not believing this. Okay. And so, that's the one piece of advice that I can definitely give to you guys is don't be afraid to publish in more competitive niches. All right. So number 2 is to be careful with hiring freelancers. Here again, I talked about this in the last video, but I really didn't touch on some of the tips and the takeaways from this experience that I had. A couple of things that I want to leave with you guys is if you are hiring freelancers, if you can, have them to sign an NDA, which they cannot disclose and talk about your product and then our project. And then also, if you can, sign a non-compete agreement. This is something that I know some people will not do, but it's something that I kind of feel like I should have done, because my freelancer, as I mentioned in the last video, basically stole my idea. He stole it. And I reported him to Amazon. They took his book down. And I didn't mention in this last video, but they actually threatened to close his account. I think they closed it. I don't know if it's because when Amazon gets, you know, the infringement case stuff, that they go and do more research to see if there's other things that, you know, people are putting out there. I'm not really sure, but they definitely did threaten, or I think they suspended his account, one of the two, because he was emailing me asking me, oh, hey, Amazon's closing my account. And I'm like, there's nothing I can do for you because you shouldn't have copied my stuff. So I really felt bad about it, which is weird because I didn't want him to lose his account. I don't want anybody to lose their account, but I cannot deal with theft. Like, I'm paying you for a service. Like, don't steal from me. I'm still upset over that a little bit because he was such a great freelancer initially. I had a lot of projects that I had lined up for him, but I'll just have to find someone else to do them. But there's that. Okay. Number 3 is to spend money on ads to push your books through the ranks on Amazon. You guys have probably heard around in YouTube land that the first 30 days are crucial. When you're publishing books, when you first publish a book, Amazon is going to push your book and boost your book through the algorithm, I think in the first 30 days. At least this is what I've heard, and I have actually seen this happen. So when your books are out there and they're getting pushed and it's the first 30 days, if you have any kind of money to spend on advertising to push them even more, definitely spend money on advertising. You can get started with ads for as little as $2, $3 a day. As a matter of fact, a lot of the ads that I have running right now are like at $3, $2 and something a day. You know, anything that I can do to push books out there, I'm going to do it. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so tip number 4 is to make sure that your design is really on point and is nothing like anything else that's already out there. I kind of mentioned this, but I will say that with this book, it was a design that didn't look like anything else that was already out there. I will say that, and I was very proud of that. And I think that is one thing that did help it sell. Now, again, the freelancer kind of put the fonts and things together on the cover of the book, but I picked out the pattern that went on the book. I picked out the color choices, all this other stuff, the interior. I did all of the other stuff myself. I kind of picked things out, but it does not look like anything else that's out there. And again, I do think that that was something that kind of helped it sell. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that I did price this book a little more aggressively and lower than some of the other books that are out there in this niche, because what I wanted to go for with the purchase of this book was more of a bulk order kind of purchase. So the books in this series, I think there's about 4 or 5 of them, are not all that expensive except for one. And I did that again for a reason, because I really wanted to kind of go for the bulk order purchase of this specific coloring book. And I think that did help it sell a little bit more, or even a lot more. So I will say that as well. Okay. And last but not least, and this is super important, and I'm actually going to be coming out with a course here pretty soon that's going to cover this, and that is to create a brand for your books and add similar books to the brand. So this is something that I think a lot of people miss an opportunity to do, and that is to create a brand around your books. Your branding is making sure that everything looks the same, that the design is cohesive, that you've created a pen name to associate with your books, that you've created things like an author account for your books, that you've created if you want to go even further, a website. You can start an email list, things like that. And so I've decided this year, because I am getting a lot of questions about this, I'm going to create a course that's going to go a little bit more in depth about basically, how to create a brand of books, aka a product line that you can sell on Amazon, because I think this is really important, okay? And it can really separate you from all of the other people that are just haphazardly publishing books and just throwing them, you know, any kind of where, you know, or any kind of place out there on Amazon land. So again, creating a brand for your books is super important. And so again, I am planning to create a course pretty soon here that's going to come out, and that's going to go way more in depth about the branding aspect, how to do your branding, how to set things up, the whole nine, the whole shebang. And so I hope that will be helpful to you all that are interested in creating a product line on Amazon KDP. All right, so those are the top 5 tips that I think helped earn that much. And then also too, it does have to do with the fact that we were in December and that most people are looking for inexpensive gifts. They're looking for gifts and they're going to be buying things, for Christmas. Now, I will say this year was a little different. So I really was, to be honest, kind of shocked that people, had bought this coloring book like they did, but I'm super grateful for it. Okay. So, again, if you enjoyed this video, you like this video, I'd love for you guys to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff to the channel. I am going to be publishing more content to hopefully help you on your passive income journey. And, thanks so much for watching. Okay. Bye and cheers, guys.